First, I'd like to thank the judges, competitor. Let's have a good debate. I believe this to be a fact round, and I'd like to use burden of proof. Contention one: this promotes equal representation. Electoral college gives disproportionate power to smaller states, diluting the principle of one person, one vote. Abolishing it ensures every vote carries equal weight, reflecting that true will of the majority. It also encourages nationwide campaigning. Candidates focus on swing states while ignoring others under the current system. Eliminating electoral college will encourage them to address issues all across the nation, not just in the swing states. Fostering a more inclusive campaign. It also prevents minority rule. The electoral college has resulted in presidents winning despite losing the popular vote. Abolishing it ensures that the candidate with the most votes nationally wins the aligning leadership with the majority's choice. The Electoral College creates confusion about how votes will translate into outcomes. A direct popular vote is simpler and more transparent, increasing public trust in elections. Just as voter disenfranchisement. Voters in heavily blue or red states often feel their vote doesn't matter. A national popular vote would empower individuals, ensuring every ballot counts equally. This could bring out more voter turnout. It modernizes an outdated system as well. The Electoral College was created in a different era, partly due to limited communication and mistrust in direct democracy. In today's connected world, a direct popular vote represents a democratic ideals. Thank you.
Okay, cross-exam. Do you think it's right for two main political parties? Do you think it's right that two political parties can count on winning the electoral vote in certain states? Yeah.
Do I think it's right that two parties can win?
Yeah, two main political parties can count on winning the electoral vote in certain states.
I don't, no.
Do you believe that the Electoral College is rooted in slavery and racism?
It was created during a time of that, so I guess you could say that, sure.
Do you believe that the Electoral College was created to protect the voice of minorities from being overwhelmed by the will of majority?
No, I don't.
Do you also believe that the Electoral College can preclude calls for recounts or demands for runoff elections, giving certainty to presidential elections?
No, just look at the last election.
Okay. First off, I would like to thank the judges and the audience. I am using this round as a fact round, and I will also be using burden of proof. The Electoral College ensures that small states have a say in presidential elections without candidates would focus only on large populations centers like California, New York, and Texas, ignoring the needs and concerns of smaller or rural states. This system balances power and prevents dominance by highly populated areas. Potential one, preservation of federalism. The U.S. is a union state, not just individuals. The Electoral College respects the federalist structure by allowing states to play a key role in electing the president. Abolishing it would centralize power, undermining the importance of a state-level governance. Contention 2. Direct election would shift focus to urban areas where most voters reside. Rural and suburban voters who are often have different priorities could be overlooked, and the Electoral College ensures that all regions have representation. Contention 3. The Electoral College discourages the rise of numerous smaller political parties, which could fragment elections under a direct voting system. This could lead to presidents being elected with a small percentage of vote, creating instability and a weaker maintenance.
cross-exam.
Yeah.
Would you agree that the Electoral College right now is set up for candidates to focus on swing states?
Yes.
Do you feel like that's fair?
For the most part, yes.
Why do you feel it's fair?
Can you restate your question?
Why do you feel it's fair that candidates focus mostly on swing states?
Meaning the bigger states?
No, swing states are the smaller states.
Because everybody deserves a fair go around. So why should, just because the majority rules, that should be the overall decision?
So you don't feel like the majority should have the say in the decision?
No.
So if I get 55% of the vote and you get 45, that 55 shouldn't get the deciding decision?
It depends on what's being voted and what the
President.
I guess.
Do you agree that the Electoral College is rooted in slavery?
No.
Why not?
Why would it be rooted in slavery?
I mean, we've all taken American history. We know that Electoral College was set up in a time where they said black people or minorities were set up as 3/7 of a person. So would you not believe this is, would you not agree with the question then?
No, because it wasn't 1/7; it was 1/5 of a person, and
3/7.
oh, 3/7. But that was old, and that's been outdated, and that's been changed since then.
Yeah, actually it hasn't. The 3/7 part's been changed, but that's when the Electoral College was set up. So do you feel like the Electoral College is rooted in racism or slavery?
No.
Okay, thank you. My rebuttal?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't think I listened to what you said. Okay. In terms of the case of the negative, I disagree. Appealing to large population centers is beneficial because that's where the majority of the people are. A popular vote means the majority of people should be able to listen to what the candidate has to say in making a better decision for our country. The majority of people pay more taxes in those smaller states, etc. Excuse me. And right now we're focusing. Donald Trump doesn't campaign in California, so those majority of people aren't getting to hear what they have to say, or what he has to say. So to say otherwise is a falsehood. So right now, these majorities of people aren't getting to hear both sides of the party. They're only hearing the Democrat because they're assumed to be Democratic, and just because they're assumed to be a blue state. Again, I say electoral college is an outdated system. It's been rooted in slavery. It was made during the 3/7 amendment in the Constitution. So that it's ironic because electoral college favors the minority or smaller states, but it was rooted in a time when minorities, i.e. black people, were not respected at all. And it like reduces fateless electors. Like electors sometimes vote against their state's choice, undermining democracy. Abolishing the electoral college system eliminates this possibility, safeguarding the integrity of elections. And as well as it'll bring up voter turnout. If the young people feel their vote is being counted, it'll help. Thank you.
My rebuttal to do you think that the Electoral College is rooted in slavery? The Electoral College was created to balance a power between population and less populated states in selecting the president. It was aimed to protect the interests of smaller states, ensuring that they weren't overshadowed by larger states indirect populated by voting. The Federalist structure was not exclusive to slavery-related concerns. The Constitutional Convention of 1787 focuses on creating a system that respected both states' sovereignty and the national identity, and delegates disagreed on how much power to elect to the central government versus the states. The Electoral College emerged as a compromise to recall these tensions, and to why this system is not outdated. The Electoral College references for the federal nature of the U.S. by giving states a direct role in presidential elections. So without the system, there could be overly centralized, reducing states' influence in national decision making. On top of that, an indirect popular vote system, candidates might focus on primarily densely populated urban areas, neglecting rural and less populated regions. The Electoral College ensures that presidential campaigns address diverse geographic and cultural needs across the country. Thank you. Closing speech.
Oh yeah. The reason I think you should vote for me is just simple. Right now we're having a crisis when it comes to voter turnout. People are turning out less and less for our federal elections, and we gotta get young people out. Right now, young people feel their voices aren't being heard. Abolishing the Electoral College handles that issue, because just because they live in California, they don't feel like they have to be blue. This addresses that issue and gets that out the way. Secondly, addressing his case, helping candidates speak to in rural areas. Unless you're rural areas in a swing state, you're not being spoken to, and that's just my opinion. I don't know last time I saw a candidate speak in Vermont or speak in Idaho. Candidates only speak in Pennsylvania, Michigan, one of these swing states, or they're guaranteed states like California that they're supposed to get. So in this case, I feel like you should vote for me because I feel abolishing the Electoral College helps the nation benefit instead of hurt. Thank you.
Why you should vote for me is
You don't get no quote.